I'm one of those people that believes that debate is a good thing, because it puts the ideas on the table as opposed to the decisions being made in the back room. So I think by putting these committees out there and having them make public comment on what's going on, it opens up the dialogue. So I'm a big supporter of this. And again, personalities aside, who's on it, who's not on it, I think the idea is a good one and I support it.
Thank you.
Did somebody have a question back here for me? No? Okay, thank you.
Mr. Maringolo, I appreciate your comments. With no disrespect to you, I don't ever remember your name being put up for a vote for the communication committee. That was a committee vote, as I understood, that we agreed to. So
Yeah, that's something I'm going to do right now.
No, I need to address.
Well, hold on a second. Let me ask you a question. How am I supposed to find out if somebody's interested in serving in a committee without asking them first? You see my point? That's what I did with Bruce. Bruce happens to be on the similar committee on the school board and that I learned about. Okay, and I think it's an excellent crossover situation where, excuse me, let me finish my point.
the way that you do it is in executive session. That's the way that we handle any single personnel matter. We discuss in an executive session.
This is not a personnel matter, this is a committee opinion.
Any
We
committee
can
is a
talk about it
personnel
here.
committee, and we discuss it back there, and then we bring it out for a vote, and we can differ on our votes. Every single member
Listen.
we've
Just like
always had.
happened to me. I called Mr. Schlegel and I called Mr. Baird to be on the committee, and I brought it up in the back room and in here, and we voted on it. I mean, this is just a surprise. I also have to discuss, Mr. Maringolo, in all due respect about the FRAC committee, doing budgets. You're on the Board of Education, so you understand budgets, but it's very, very difficult I know that this committee is stacked with mayors and accountants, because also Dennis Sandow requested that. This is a very difficult issue to educate the public. If you remember on your tax bill, what I did is I painstakingly took, the 15 items and tried to divvy up what your tax bill is to make you more aware of what's going on. I also asked people in the first tax bill, which extended that, to communicate to me if you had any discussions about or questions about the budget, and I had about 15 or 20 responses, and I answered all those questions. So I did try to open up the public. I've also said all last year that I've been looking into citizens-based budgeting, which is proven across the country, and what it does is it gives input from the public about services. But to sit there and look at line items, or to sit there and talk to our department heads, I think I'm not doing my job as an elected official, and to have people go intimately into our budget like that it's not a healthy thing. And I may remind you that last year I directed Kevin Sluka to do the capital budget line by line and also the budget line by line, and everything was done in open and honest fashion. So, but the responsibility rests with us.
Look, this is what I'm going to have to speak up, because that's nonsense, all right? I came into these meetings last year all the time, and I was constantly surprised with stuff. So your suggestion that you had this openness in government is nonsense. That's why I strenuously ran against you last year, because you weren't opening the process. Just like your introduction of a 17% tax hike was completely beyond me.
Do you still understand what an introduction of a budget is to this day? It's called introducing it to the public, and then discuss it from there on in.
That's not correct.
That's what an introduction of a budget is.
We did not introduce a 17% budget.
We're going to take things in order, okay? Nobody's going to speak out of turn.
That's what Dennis said.
Okay, take things in order.
Okay, I have something to say here too. Philosophically, I think that they're trying to bring you out of the budget process by saying that you don't understand it. You wouldn't understand this complicated financial stuff that
You mean that I wanted to have everybody here to have a meeting?
That's it.
That I wanted to have everyone here to have a
You're
meeting?
not recognized. Please be quiet until he's done, and I'll recognize you. We've got to do this orderly. Go ahead, Mr.
Okay,
Romeo.
what I just heard Committeewoman Genevieve say was that she was going to spare you the detail.
No, I did not say that, but
Okay, I'm paraphrasing. I don't know what you said.
Mischaracterizing.
Okay, please.
What you said was similar to the effect, I think you misspoke when you said you're going to open the public up. I think what you meant to say was you're going to open the government up, and that's what we're here to do. We're not here to exclude you from the budget process. Anybody that has a comment, I offer my time. At any time, give me a call. We'll talk about it. We'll sit down. This is what we need to do. We don't need to exclude you from the process. Having a committee will only expedite that process. It's a select group of individuals. It's not meant to exclude anybody, but people that we felt that we could work with and have an open dialogue, not people who are philosophically opposed to our budget process or our budget philosophy. To have somebody on a committee that we're completely opposed to would be doing all of us a disservice. We would just sit there and spin our wheels. This is a committee that we thought really had the power to look at all works of government, financial and operations, and come up with some suggestions that could help save us time, money, and operate more efficiently. It's not about cutting people from town hall. It's not about excluding individuals from the process. It's about opening up the budget process. And if anybody wants to come to any meetings, they're certainly welcome. I mean, and like we said, our website will have the budget documents on there. So please, call us if you have questions about it.
Anybody else would like to make, anybody else? Go ahead, somebody new.
My first is a question about the FRAC
Could you
committee.
identify yourself for the record?
Oh, Sandy Guilfoyle, 35 Church Road, Millington.
Thank you.
Is the FRAC committee going to be advertised, and will it be an open public meeting so anybody from the public who wants to be there can be there?
Well, I certainly think that we should, I've already said this, open it up to all of our committees, in other words, all of our committees should be open to the public at all times, except with respect to committees that might deal with confidential matters like personnel and that sort of thing. So I certainly expect that those committees will be, deliberating in open, and I suspect they'll have some confidential matters they'll have to speak about in closed session. And so, yes, absolutely.
My concern is, I know people think they're not informed about the budget, but if you come to the meetings and to the budget meetings, you are informed. And now, a lot of this is going to be done without the public present. They're not going to.
Not at all.
Nothing will be done.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing will be done without 100% input from the public and discussion about every, conceivable recommendation that committee might have. So I will reassure you
I'll
that.
hold judgment on it, but I'll hold you
Absolutely.
to that.
Oh, you should.
And I have a couple of suggestions
Go
for you,
ahead.
Mayor Vitarella.
Yes, please.
The first one is, please learn Robert's Rules of Order so you can conduct these meetings properly.
Well,
And the mayor should not be making motions.
No, the ma-
No, under Robert's rules, the mayor can, because he's a
Thank-
voting member of the committee. If he were a separately elected mayor, he could not. But under Robert's rules, he is entitled.
In the past, our mayors have not been making
Yeah.
That's true, but
motion after motion.
But under Robert's rules, it is
Yeah,
permissible.
see that, thank you.
Now,
I do know Robert's rules, I appreciate that.
I have another question.
Hold on, let me just finish commenting on your statement, if I may. I have been very flexible with, the discussion up here, and I haven't followed Robert's rules to the letter because I wanted to have people be liberal with their comments. But if we start, with outbursts and that sort of thing, I will have to tighten it up as you suggest. Thank you.
I have another suggestion. Please study what your responsibilities as mayor are. This is a committee of the whole, and you can't unilaterally make decisions, and you do have the majority party at this point, but those decisions should not be made outside of the meetings. And it was obvious at the January 2nd meeting that the CFO that you were talking about hiring, it had been discussed by at least 3 of the committee members before the meeting.
Well, we discussed that issue in executive session as well. And
Then how did
Mr.
2 of the
Collins
committee
did-
members not know it
No,
was
Mr. Collins
discussed?
also interviewed the individual. So it's a little bit more complicated than you're suggesting.
No, it's very, very simple. The Sunshine Law is the Sunshine Law. I
Oh, yes.
served on the Board of Education for many more years
Yes.
than you did, and there are violations of the Sunshine Law going on here.
No, I beg to
I'll
differ.
speak to that.
You cannot have a
Consulting
quorum.
committee
You cannot have
to,
a quorum and meet with people. That certainly would be a violation of the
3 of
Sunshine
you
Law.
cannot meet someplace
I can
else.
assure you that there was no decisions made except for right
Correct.
here in this place. I
You
can
walked
also.
in here and got a resolution for the CFO and
Okay,
made
so
your
if you can maybe
decisions.
answer my question, how come there was no CFO appointed that night if you think a decision was made prior to that meeting?
Well, I was very grateful to you, Mr. Aronio, for recognizing your duty
Yeah.
and
Okay,
voting.
so it's very insulting to me when you tell me that my vote doesn't count, I'm following somebody else. I did my research, I spoke with our attorney prior to making any decisions on that. I asked him, I asked for advice on the Sunshine Law and what the limitations were and what I could and couldn't do. So please, don't accuse people when you have no facts.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, it certainly appears that way at the meetings.
Mayor?
Yes.